today's conversation
Mhm.
is with Courtney Hickey, who has developed a program called Lines Within. So, Courtney, can you just start off by sharing with us a little bit about yourself and why Lines Within, and tell us a little bit about the program?
Absolutely, yeah. So I went through high school, obviously, as most of us do, and I found it to be a very overwhelming process. I was the real stressful student. I struggled with anxiety, doubting myself, having a lot of expectations on me that I didn't know how to handle. I also had lots of issues with body image and eating disorders and bullying and all the things that kind of come along with high school. And since graduating, I went on to do my undergraduate of psychology. And through just experience and doing my own research, I managed to find all of these tools and strategies to help counter all of the things that I experienced in high school. And I remember every time I learned something new or found a new strategy or a new way of doing things, I thought, oh my goodness, I just wish I knew this back when I was in high school, because it would have made things a lot easier. And so that's where this whole program has really been born from. It's just from that part of, I kind of went through it in my own process that wasn't amazing and had a lot of struggles. And I would just love to be able to share information to students that are coming through school now, especially with all of the added stress. You know, they have social media that's at a whole new level compared to when I was in high school. There's been the stress of COVID and doing online learning, and I just think, based on students that I've been speaking to and teachers in schools and leaders in schools, it's become so apparent that there's just such a need for mental well-being help. And that's what the entire program is of Lines Within, is it's focusing on the mental well-being of the individual student.
Okay, so what will the students who are involved take away from being part of the program?
Yeah, so with the program itself, it is a core program of 5 weeks. And within those 5 weeks, there is self-love, self-worth, stress management, sleep, and social media, as they're the core elements that I think really make up mental well-being when we look at that, especially at that age. So each week we would go through one of those elements, and so we'd spend time working on self-love. We'd learn what that is, what does that actually look like for an individual to cultivate that for themselves, and how will it help them in life to have higher love for themselves, what's kind of the effect if they don't have that. And we do that. So they'd learn a lot about, it's a lot of deep work they'd have to do with themselves. There'd be a lot of reflection and really figuring out where do they sit and what are their current obstacles that they're facing, and how can they possibly, change some of their thought patterns. So we go through all of that in the 5 weeks. And then there's also 6 different electives that schools can choose to add on to the program, which allows it to be a bit more tailored to certain age demographics, or if there's certain issues that they're finding their students are currently struggling with, it can just add some extra support.
Okay, so is it a Christian-based program? Or if not, can schools put that Christian element into it?
Absolutely, yes. So the whole reason that this kind of came about, it had been on my heart for, oh my gosh, about 9 years to do this. And it wasn't until I came to know God about half ago that everything just came together. And I believe that was genuinely God's work. His, fingerprint has been over the entire business. So I feel very blessed that he's entrusted me with this. I have kept it as non-Christian focused, just because I didn't want to state schools not have access to it, but it 1000% can bring God into it. And I would love to be able to bring God into the conversation with it, because he was in the entire creation of it. So definitely
Yeah.
and element if schools want that for it.
So, with all your experience and the struggles you went through during school, what other qualifications, experience do you bring to the table to put the program together?
Yeah, definitely. So, as I said, I did my undergraduate in psychology, and I chose not to do further study in that as I didn't feel that my purpose in life was to help people that have mental diseases. My heart has always been for just helping the average everyday person to be a little bit better. So once I completed my study, I then went on to work with the Brisbane Bullets for 3.5 years. And I managed team operations. But the other thing that I did is I championed a player welfare program where it was helping the athletes to deal with stress, have a bit more understanding of how to manage their time, how to set their goals properly, how to allow themselves to develop and become the type of athlete that they want to be. So I did work with a lot of the professional athletes, but it really depended on how involved they wanted to be. It wasn't forced on them to do it. But I looked after all of the development players, and they were fantastic to work with because they were hungry. They hadn't quite made it yet, so they wanted to get every single little percentage possible. So I worked a lot with them, and most of them were either a year out of high school, if not still in high school. And then we also ran a lot of camps that were with high school age students, so from the ages of 17. And whenever we would do camps and clinics with them, I'd always run mental wellbeing programs with them just to give them a bit of foundation on how they can best look after themselves in the process of trying to become a professional athlete, as well as balancing their studies and their social life and everything else that comes in those of growing up. So, and very beneficial. And I came alive during those times. It's where I know I'm meant to be.
Great. How's the program delivered, Courtney, in schools?
Of quite a few different options based on, as far as the ideal model of how it would go, based on all of the science. It's brilliant to do a 1-day intensive and really go through everything in that time frame. But most often, students or people, whoever goes through that learning, they'll learn and it'll maybe stick with them for a few weeks and then it'll fade away. Whereas if you do gradual learning over a period of time, the effects seem to last longer. So it is structured to be a session every week that would go for around an hour to an hour and a half. But if schools don't have the flexibility to put that into their calendar, we can definitely do it in a day or over 2. It's just, I want schools to know that that's the best way as far as results are concerned. Then it can also be done in person or virtually. So if schools far away and they can't afford to, fly me out for the day, we can definitely do it over Zoom or whatever it is. So that's an option. And then within it, we have different packages that can be purchased. So I know some schools already have a counsellor or something that are on staff. So they can just purchase the program by itself and then their staff can run it internally. That way they know students, they know how to interact with them best. Then that's the bronze package. Then there's a silver package where I would come in and I would deliver the first and the last class just so that they have a touch point with me. They can kind of see how it's run and what it looks like and how to take the students through the exercises. But then the teachers can run the other weeks that I won't be there. And then the gold package is I'm running all of it. And the have access to me for a 30-minute one-on-one outside of school hours should they need some extra support.
Okay. So the next obvious question is, how much does it cost?
Yeah, absolutely. All done based on the number of students that will go through the program. So just to kind of give you an idea based off of 30 students, because the program, as it does require, a lot of introspective work, there's going to be a lot of vulnerability involved. it does work best when it's a smaller group. I know just in my own experience of working with high school age students, whenever I've done a course with 30 to 40 students, the involvement is really high and the students, open up and they allow themselves to kind of explore things. Whereas when you have 100 students, everyone's quiet. No one wants to really, put their teeth into it. So again, preference is for a smaller group, but if that's not possible, we can definitely work with larger numbers as well. So the bronze package, which would be based off just 30 students for the 5-week program, so that has all of the 5 key components, that would be $950 plus GST for the bronze, which is where the school runs it by themselves. For the silver package, for the same amount of numbers, 5-week program is $1,250 plus GST. And then for the gold package, where I would be in the school running all of it, it is $1,800 plus GST for 30 students, 5 weeks. But what I would also really love to do with the organisation that you work with in all of the schools is I'm going to offer 20% off the gold programs. So if any schools want to have the gold program where I would be running the whole thing, I will give them a 20% discount on what final price is based on how many students they want involved.
No, sounds fantastic. So if schools are interested in finding out more, how do they contact you, Courtney?
Absolutely. So firstly, they can go to the website, which is www.lineswithin.com, and that has just extra information that they can see. They can kind of look through every element that's in the program, as well as the electives that are available. And there's a contact information there, the emails there, but if they want to just contact me directly as well without going to the website, my email is Courtney, which is COURTENAY @lineswithin.com.au.
Oh, fantastic. So is there anything else that you want to share with us before we finish? Because what's going to happen now is this will be sent out to schools who then, if they want to contact you, they've got some information. They've got information that you put together for us. Is there anything else that you want to share with them before we finish today?
Oh, I think it's just that, I really feel for schools at the moment with everything that's happening in the world. I think there is so much uncertainty, and I think people are unsure on how best they move forward. I think that having love and support are just two really good foundations, and I think that students at the moment need that as well, which I'm sure schools are incredibly aware of, and that's what the heart of this entire program is. So even if they're unsure about the program, or if it's right for them, I'm so happy to have a conversation and figure out if there's another way that I can help support the schools, because that's all I want to do. I just want to help make students better so that we have better adults that are in society later.
Yeah, and that's the whole part of the student wellbeing in our schools, isn't it? It's really supporting them at this difficult time and helping them build and supporting them in building resilience. So, thank you so much. It's been really lovely getting to know you over this journey, and I really appreciate your time today. So thank you, and don't forget, if you want to know more, it's lineswithin.com.au.
No
AU.
Yeah.
Okay, lineswithin.com, and there's further details on the website. And also in the attached email that is come with this little chat, this little introductory video. So thanks, Courtney. Really appreciate it. And we'll be in touch more.